It's a sunny late afternoon in Florida, the 3rd of November, and second day of ground school. As I mentioned yesterday, we were discussing aerodynamics today, and we started with the basic question, why is an airplane actually flying? And we looked at the concept that was actually established by Daniel Bernoulli, a Swiss mathematician and physicist, born 1700. Funny enough, he actually went to the same school as I did 300 years later. So this is the school I went to high school. Um, every day I would go through the wooden gates and attend school for 5 years. And again, 300 years before, Daniel Bernoulli established a concept that is still valid today. It's actually around how fluids um, and pressure is relating to each other. And so he established that the faster a fluid speed is, the more the pressure decreases. And that's helping us to understand why an airplane is flying. So as we can see here, this is kind of like a wing from the side, um, and it has a bit larger surface on the upper side, and hence the air needs to travel further over the wing than under the wing, and needs to travel faster because of that, and ultimately creates a low pressure area. And that low pressure area then helps the airplane to lift. So obviously there are hundreds and thousands of videos on YouTube. You can learn like for hours about like lift and how this Bernoulli principle applies. So feel free to explore but we leave it here. An important concept then that we looked as well around aerodynamics was actually the four forces around an aircraft. So the four forces are lift, as we just discussed. We have thrust that is being created by the engine. We have weight, pulls the aircraft down, and we have drag. And obviously there's some irony about that. And the irony is actually that, well, like if you consider like the life of a pilot, or like people that want to become pilot like myself, the dreams they lift you up. However, the reality pulls you down, and ultimately it's only the money that pushes you forward. And then there is like the FAA, which is like the government regulator that drags you and so forth. And obviously, if everything comes together and is in equilibrium, then the airplane is flying. And that is exactly what's happening in my personal life right now. Everything comes together in equilibrium, and I'm able to fly and take my flight training. We also discussed today the engines of an airplane. They're very similar to a car engine. They also run with fuel, obviously, have cylinders and so forth. There are a couple of like differences. One, for example, is that you can switch off the whole electric system in an airplane, and the engine will still run because the electrical system is not directly attached to the engine. If you try to do that in a car, if you switch off the car, then everything will stop. And so there are a couple of like differences as well as similarities. Again, the internet is full of explanation how an engine works, so feel free to look it up. However, this was the second day, and tomorrow we're going to cover regulations. Um, so yeah, it's going to be a dry a topic to discuss. However, obviously similarly important to be aware of regulations around flying. That's it for now. Hope you have a good time and talk to you tomorrow again.